Welcome home, where we provide information, inspiration, and motivator after motivator after motivator here on America's Next. I have Justin Rambo here with me today, aka Mr. Versatile Success, PKA, Mr. Personal Development. How you doing today, Justin? Hello? Hello? Can you hear me? Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Give me 1 second. Let's see what's going on with Justin here. Hello? Hey, everybody, give us 1 second. Can y'all see Justin on the screen? I can see him. Let me send him a message. Yeah, so let's take this time to get other people into the building. Be a part of our conversation this morning. Justin Rambo is a very dynamic gentleman, and he has a tremendous story. And so you guys sit tight, and we are going to unpack a great conversation for you all today. How you guys doing today on this Thursday morning? I know you want to know what I'm drinking, right? This Natalie's grapefruit juice. It's almost as if they took probably about 7 grapefruits, squeezed them into this bottle here. And the thing about some of these juices, these 100% juices, that they're pretty strong, man. And sometimes they kind of dehydrate you a little bit. You guys know anything better? Let me know. So we're waiting on Justin to come back. Shouldn't be too much of an issue. What's going on out there? Let's see what we got. Hey, Justin, how you doing, sir?
Hey, can you see and hear me now?
Yes, I can. Yes, I can. I told everybody out there I was drinking grapefruit juice this morning, so they're putting all these weird faces into the chat. I like grapefruit juice, though.
I can't say I've ever had it, to be honest. So I'll take your word for it.
Yeah. Take my word for it, man.
Grapefruit juice, huh? Is it like healthier or something?
I mean, it's as healthy as grapefruit juice could be.
Yeah,
it's good for you. I like fruit juices, but let's take it from the top. Welcome home, where we provide information, inspiration, and motivator after motivator after motivator here on America's Next. I have Justin Rambo here with me today, aka Mr. Personal Development, PKA, Mr. Versatile Success. How you doing, Justin?
Cedric, I'm doing great. I'm excited to be here, and I'm grateful that you reached out to me in the first place. But I'm ready to go.
Absolutely. Let's take it from the top. Where are you from?
Upstate New York, Rochester, New York.
Okay. What was it like for you growing up in Rochester?
Rochester, it's not like every place. It has its pros and cons, right? So I grew up in a suburb of Rochester, but for me growing up, it was 2-parent household, right? Mm-hmm. Which for a lot of my friends was uncommon, but I grew up in a household where, my dad worked the B shift. So it was really my mom taking care of us as kids. But also me being the youngest of 3, I was more so the one that would either always get in trouble or always get out of trouble. And so for me growing up, living in the suburbs, 2-parent household, but my dad more so working the B shift, which means I only saw him in the morning. Things are rough, but like for any kid, they have their pros and cons growing up. So right. All in all, wasn't too bad, but a lot of learning lessons, a lot of experiences, a lot of ups and downs, just like everyone else.
Okay. What were your favorite memories of, your childhood? Let's say around the age of 6 or 7. What were some of the things that you did that you really remember to this day?
My imagination. Imagination, because I remember at a young age just being able to play by myself or create something by myself and have fun with friends in the neighborhood, going to their house, rollerblading, if anyone remembers that. Mm-hmm. Just the imagination of making things up and having fun. And that's what I remember the most. And that's what I cherish the most. And that's what I lost the most until my son was born. So we'll get to that in a second.
Wow. No, let's get to that right now. What sorts of things were you doing with your imagination? Were you drawing pictures? Were you using Legos? How were you expressing yourself?
So for me, it was okay. I get my little group of friends and we make up these stories and these games, right? And we have fun doing those, or playing war, or playing in a sandbox, things like that. And for me, my imagination is more so creative, where I can create scenarios, right?
Mhm,
And I would have fun. So I didn't necessarily need, like I told you, my father was the B shift, right? For any little boy, they want to play with their father, be with their father. His upbringing was a little bit more rough than mine, but that allowed me to not feel like I was missing out on too much. So I thought, until I
mhm.
got older, became an adult, and I realized how much that actually impacted me in terms of me missing his presence, but filling in that missing of his presence with my imagination. So I found a new way around what I was missing.
I think that that is really cool that you had a relationship with your imagination that became therapeutic and that became a void filler for you. A lot of people they use different things as a void filler when they're missing out on a key relationship like the one with their father. And so when you say that you used your imagination, I think that that presents a great alternative, for young men or young women out there who they have angst. They have angst. And your imagination can be therapeutic in times where you're dealing with that angst. So
Mhm.
what was your relationship like with your siblings and mother then growing up?
Well, my mom is from the South, right? So, from the South, everyone's welcoming, wholehearted, just loves everybody. So my relationship with my mother was perfect, right? People call me a mama's boy, which is good because obviously I needed that parent figure. And not to say my dad wasn't there, because he was still there. It's just certain things I wish I was able to grasp onto. So
Mhm,
my relationship with my mother was great. She was great with all of us. And then my relationship with my siblings, my brother is 7 years older, so he's the older brother. But
mhm,
he was also the individual who, we would wrestle, we would play fight. So that was that older sibling figure where I can look up to. And then my sister and I were 2 years apart. She's older than me by 2 years. And we didn't get along when we were younger, and we argued all the time, but it was my fault because I want it my way. So I'm going to say what I need to say. But as adults, we all get along. We're all great. So the household dynamic itself was fine, but there was that missing piece. What I would say is sometimes what children experience, it's not that particular situation. It's situations that were brought about before they were born. So, i.e., my father's upbringing, right? Him dealing with
mhm,
certain things or not dealing with certain things. Then guess who had to deal with it? We did, or we had to deal with the ramifications of it. But also, my mom growing up in the South, and at that time, education wasn't that important. So she didn't really have the schooling per se that would propel her forward in that way.
mhm.
But she was also the youngest of nine siblings, and by far nine siblings,
Wow.
where oldest brother died in the Vietnam War when he was 19. She was only 6, right? And so
Wow.
she met my dad when she was 16, moved up from North Carolina to upstate New York when she was 18 with my dad, and got married, had my brother at 19. So now what's happening is the things that they either, and by they I mean my parents, did or did not deal with, or the things that the opportunities they did have or did not have, the kids have to then take on that responsibility, because we are seeing the our world, and by we I mean kids, we're seeing our world based on our parents' view of the world and how they were raised. And so that's why that whole generational repetition and generational curses and breaking the generational curses and getting generational wealth. It starts with you, whoever's listening, the individual. And so, but all in all, I can't complain about my upbringing. Like I said, ups and downs from, you know, every situation. You learn, you grow, and you move forward. But my most poignant memory of growing up was my temper. I was known for two things: my temper and being a great athlete,
Mhm.
right? So watch how this plays out. My mom, I'm a mama's boy.
Hold
Yep.
on. Give me 1 second. You mentioned children having to deal with the upbringing of their parents. I thought that was a key point. Did you ever get to see your parents deal with some of their childhood or their traumatic experience? Did you ever get to see them deal with any of it?
Not at all. Not at all. And you know what? As kids, you don't really understand that when you're growing up and you think your parents are really old, right? And I'm thinking, man, my parents are old. They have it made. They have it set. They know what being an adult is, but they're still growing up as well.
Mhm.
So if they have dealt with certain things, we're not understanding, okay, why are they acting like this? Why are they saying this? Why are we going through these things?
Mhm.
Or so for me, I didn't see my parents deal with those things. And I'm an introspective person. I'm a deep thinker, right? I like to analyze certain things. So by me not seeing them go through those things, it made me question a lot of things. And
Okay.
by questioning a lot of things, right? So I think that was what helped me, is because I wasn't getting the answers that I was looking for. So that led me to questioning things. Now, everything happens for a reason. So let's say my parents told me about their childhood traumas and things like that, and they showed me how to work through it. I wouldn't question as much now,
Mhm.
right? So it was that searching, that always searching for more, and that could be looked at as two ways, right? So you can have the situation where, I'm questioning things, I'm searching for more to better myself, or you can repeat the same pattern.
Right.
And I
Exactly.
chose of searching and wanting more.
Exactly. It's great. It's great how some of those energies were passed on to you, but then you took them and then you turned them into positives in your life. And that's what I think you were getting to. So you were known for your talent and your temper, and millions of people can relate to you on that. They can identify with you on that. I have what they call a temper, but I'm also talented. I think that combination is common when you look at people who are quote unquote hard to get to, quote unquote at risk because they're hard to get to, on the fringes of society. Sometimes you say, "Oh, I can't get to them. They're a lost cause." All the while, they're talented, they're intelligent, they have potential, but the temper is what so many people don't know how to deal with. So let's use this as an educational moment to explore the temper, the talent, and how to address it with our young people today. Let's start with the temper. What was going on with it?
So important. It was an explosive temper. So anything where I felt disrespected, or someone made me feel little, or I felt stupid, I would just lash out in a physical way, right? Destroy things and all, or verbally. And it wasn't until I got older that I had to reverse engineer the process, meaning, where are these feelings coming from? Why am I getting so upset? And I traced a lot of it back to, okay, the relationship with my father. I didn't get the things I wanted out of him, but he was also a down south Georgia military guy, which meant in that household, he listened to what I say, don't ask any questions. I'm an inquisitive person, so I'm holding a lot of emotions in. So when it came to teachers or authority figures, I would lash out because I couldn't ask questions at home. And so it's the reverse engineering. Okay, understanding what the problem is. Mind you, I said I also would lash out if someone made me feel little or stupid. Why was I lashing out then? It's because I felt stupid in school.
Wow.
I didn't get grades. I was the kid. I remember first grade, the teacher had reading groups and math groups. So you had group 1, 2, 3. Group 3 was the kids that really needed help. I was in group 3 for both. And on top of that, we had special help teachers come in and take a group of kids out for extra work, for extra help. Guess who was one of those kids? Me. So in first grade, I thought to myself, I'm not smart enough. I'm stupid. Right. And I don't really know how to conform to what this educational system is trying to teach me. Not realizing at the time, right? Because I'm young, that I learn in different ways. I'm actually really smart.
That's
So,
right.
but here's what I perpetuated that from first grade until my second stint in college.
Hold
Meaning,
on, hold
I
on, hold on, hold on, hold on. Let's slow this down. This is so important. It is so present in our communities, in my own life, in our families, a feeling of inadequacy
Mhm.
because your actual personality type might be different from what people are used to. you were born with what they call any high school coach will tell you, this kid's got fast twitch muscle fibers. This is the kid I want on the field. He's got killer instinct. He's got the it factor. Our academic teachers aren't always looking for your type of it factor. They're looking for, whatever they might be looking for. Lo and behold, you are one of the most incredible types of people on the planet. See, we have different types of people on the planet. It's important to understand that, because in a place like school where you pretty much have a pipeline and everybody goes through that pipeline and gets what they get their own issue. Your particular type of personality might not be best suited for that style. What was effective for you when it came to teaching you and working with you? What was effective with you? What was effective?
So the things that were effective with me was any teacher or any administrator who took the time out to get to know me first, right? Because I have this wall up, I had this anger, and you're telling me I need to do it this way, not telling me why. Again, I'm inquisitive, not helping me understand, but more so not getting to understand me. But those that did dive into who I am, I resonated a lot more with those individuals, right? And so I said, first grade to my second stint in college, I thought I was stupid because I thought there was only one way to learn. So what did I perpetuate all those years? I'm not enough. I'm inadequate. I'm not smart. I'm a great athlete, though. But once athletics was taken away, now what am I? What do I have? Who am I?
You're still incredible.
So that the dilemma I faced because I didn't know myself at the time, right? And just to paint the picture for anyone that's dealing with any negative stereotype or negative connotation based on what you say about yourself or what other people say, you have to understand there's power in that negativity. There's positive in that negativity. So you and I both said, Cedric, that we had tempers. What does that also show? It shows that we're incredibly passionate about something. We just have to redirect that focus into something else, more positive, right? And so that's one thing I had realized for me. But like I said, anyone that really got to know me, because I was looking for that acceptance from my father. So anyone that got to know me that was an authority figure, I felt like I was starting to be accepted. So what did I do? I started to excel in whatever that area was. But yeah, so that's what it was for me.
I think that men are very important for young men, boys, when it comes to learning how to deal with temperament. And so we know that the proper way to term it is not I had a temper, rather that you had a difficulty dealing with or managing your own temperament. So we know that. But I think that men play a critical role in teaching boys how to manage their temperament. And so when you connect it to the deficiency that you had in a relationship with your father, not only is that spot on, but I think it applies clear across the board. We have a lot of young people, boys and girls, who have a problem managing their temperament. And a lot of times it's connected to a relationship with their fathers. See, it has to do with testosterone. It has to do with assertiveness and also physical expression. And who tends to be the masters of physical expression or assertiveness is usually men. And so when we have that lack of an example of how to handle ourselves, then we're left to pretty much fly off the handle, to have tools under our tool belt that we don't really know how to use effectively. And what we're raising awareness about today is that for those types of young people, hands-on learning is key. Getting to know them is key. I'm not going to walk in and throw the book at you. I'm going to walk in. I'm going to say, "Hey, Justin, is that how you say your name? How are you today? Who are you? Let's talk about you first. What's going on? What's going on in your world first?" And for a kid who so-called has a temper issue, they'll take that as, "Oh, you're interested in me first." That's correct.
Mm-hmm.
Now that I'm in the first place, what else do you have for me? Oh, some math. Okay. Oh, some reading. Okay. Some writing. Okay, cool. But the student has to come first. The child has to come first. Children come first is the point.
Yeah.
Now, how did all these factors play out for you as you went through elementary school? Did you get coaches? Did you get mentors? Did some teachers pull you to the side and work with you effectively?
No, they did not. And I did not have the mentor or the coach. But I will also add to what you just said is the managing of the temperament is really just the managing of emotion. So while you may not see that father figure manage their emotions, just to be able to have that communication with the father figure of, hey, I'm going through this. Can you help me? What can I do? Right. So I think that's the one of the most overlooked thing is that communication, because sometimes, look, I'm a father. Sometimes the father may not tell the kids what they've gone through in detail, great detail. But if my child comes to me and I'm seeing certain things, or I even prompt them with a question, then I can help them. I can communicate how to manage it, which is what I do now with my kids. And so that's the first thing is that communication. So you may not see it from one of your parents, but having that open line of communication is going to lead to you managing your emotions better, right? So when the emotions are high, logic is low a lot of the times, is what people say. And that's what I found I was really missing is that communication piece, right? Like I said, my dad grew up in the house. I mean, we were around, we went fishing and things like that, but that connection wasn't there, so to
Mhm.
speak. And in terms of mentors and coaches, I did not. And here's why. I was the good athlete. So I grew up in the same town my whole life. They let me get away with everything.
Wow.
And so since I got away with everything, I'm thinking I'm okay. I'm good. And I don't really need the extra help. And I thought that was a plus. So a lot of the games I played in, whether football or when I was running track, that I shouldn't have been able to play in because I either did something I shouldn't have or my grades were too low, they let me pass and participate. In my head, I'm like, okay, I'm winning. That's a bonus. Later on in life, I realized how much that hurt me. And so
Mhm.
not having the mentor, it was more so when I got older and I was dealing with certain things in a really bad relationship and going to court for custody and child support and those things, I really had to take a deep dive into, okay, who is Justin Rambo? Let's backtrack. Let's reverse engineer these things. Let's work on you. And
Mhm.
it wasn't until then where things really started to change for me.
Absolutely. I want to normalize a couple of things in this conversation. The first thing I want to normalize is not calling ourselves stupid, not saying anyone else as stupid, and that if we don't understand someone's genius, it doesn't make them stupid.
Mm-hmm.
There are people who have disabilities who they get specific care for their disabilities. But as far as general people doing general things with everybody else, no one is stupid. And so I find it disheartening that you were allowed, due to lack of conversation, lack of communication, lack of understanding who you were, to believe that you were stupid. For me, one of the most hurtful labels that anybody can have is stupid. And today it's not a part of my vocabulary. I don't use it in my family. I don't say it about strangers. I don't even use that word. And so I want to normalize not even fathoming that we can be that. That's the first thing. The other thing that I want to normalize is that explosiveness is okay. Power is okay. Intensity is okay. The world needs it. The world welcomes it. We welcome it here on America's Next Motivator. It's okay for you to be a strong, confident man. That's perfect. There is perfection in that. Everything is okay with you being an explosive person. Everything is okay with you being an assertive person. Everything. But what we need, and I'm going to use a phrase that everybody might not use, but we need big dogs out there. We need big dogs to grab the little dogs and say, you know what? Everybody else's gravity might not work with you, but mine's will.
Mm-hmm.
Get over here and let's do this way.
Yep. And
We
here's the thing
need,
I want to, if
go
you don't
ahead.
mind, want to add to that is that's where I'm talking about. They're redirecting that passion, that energy,
Yep.
redirecting it in something that you're in a more productive way, right?
Mm-hmm.
That's where you really see it shine. Because look, what I've realized is you see me talking with my hands, and I'm my like passion is coming out, right? I'm
Right.
moving around, I'm talking. Guess what? When I used to get really angry, it was the same motion.
Right.
Everything was the same. And I caught everyone's attention just the same. But now I'm redirecting it into what I'm doing, and it still yields those same results. You know what I mean? It
Right.
still brings that attention, that energy. So it's redirecting. Hey, I'm not stupid. I learn differently. Number one, I have abilities and gifts that some people don't have. So let me figure out how to use those for the betterment of not only myself, but family members and people around me.
Mm-hmm.
But there's some other individuals that feel like me. So let me redirect this passion, this energy, this drive into something else. And that's where you'll find a lot more clarity, because listen, it's my belief that everyone has the ability to do something or multiple things. It's just that we're so there's so much noise in the world that we're distracted to really understand how gifted we really are. And so once you eliminate those distractions, and as my book says, turn down the noise, right? You understand yourself to a greater degree than what you ever did. And you realize a lot of those things that you thought were negative are your positive, but it was just that your energy had to be redirected. That's all it was for me.
Absolutely. Absolutely. I'm using you as a case study today. Like I said, you represent so many young people who either slip through the cracks, get left behind, people walk away from them. And what we are exposing today is the need to learn how to direct your energy. Everybody has to learn that you are a spectrum of energy. You are a bustling, big, vibrant, almost busy ball of energy that needs to be managed. It needs to be dealt with. And that's what being an effective human being is, understanding how to manage your temperament. And no, it might not always be the librarian who's going to be able to get you to deal with that temperament. I'm from Cleveland, Ohio. We root for the Cleveland Browns.
Hey.
It's called the dog pound for a reason. Sometimes when you start barking, you need a big dog to start barking with you.
Mm-hmm. To
get you on the accord of, okay, this is how big dogs manage their temperament. We need that. We all need one another to assist. We need the uncles, we need the big brothers, the big cousins, the teachers who have an understanding to step in and assist. You can turn your temper off. It's a mindset thing. It's an internal muscle. You don't have to fly off the handle. Being an effective adult means not flying off the handle nearly as much. That's what being an adult is. It's a switch that could be turned off. Don't ever take your energy and throw it out into your environment recklessly. Don't do that, because now you're abusing yourself. Learn how to manage your temper. That switch of going crazy, turn it off. We go high. We don't do that anymore. You can still be explosive. You can still be assertive. You're still going to be talented and never stupid. We'll be right back with this author and personal development coach, Justin Rambo. America's Next Motivator. Monday, Wednesday, and Friday at 5 p.m. Eastern. Tuesday and Thursday at 10 a.m. Eastern. America's Next Motivator, hosted by me, Cedric Riley, and sponsored by the Pride Empowerment Network. back. Justin, how you feeling out there?
I'm feeling great, man. I'm feeling really good.
Absolutely. Now, what was the turning point for you when you began to harness your energy and direct it in a better way in your life? What moment was that?
Right. So I would say there's a precursor to the actual frame of moments, right? And the
Hmm.
precursor was, as I said earlier, I dropped out of college twice. And then in my third stint in college, I graduated. But not only did I graduate, my GPA versus what you saw the first 2 years and even from high school, two totally different people. And that's when I started to gain momentum and understand that, okay, what I thought was the one way of learning is not the one way of learning. What I thought was a negative in terms of how passionate I am about something. Once I use it for the right things, I can accomplish certain things, right? So I graduated, worked a job for 2 years, but then I opened my first business, right? So for 4.5 years, I had a brick and mortar personal training studio, a lot of classes, a lot of one-on-ones, a lot of group programs, a lot of contracts with different businesses. But at that time, when I first opened, I was going through a split with my ex where I had two daughters by, and that can get ugly. So court and things like that. And so now I'm feeling myself, that temper coming back because I'm going through all these things after I just accomplished a lot of things. And
Hmm.
now it feels like I'm being pushed back down. So I had to do that inner work, right? So
That's right.
it wasn't just the successes that I can use to say, okay, I'm doing great. It was no, you really need to take care of yourself and understand yourself. And so that's when I first heard the term personal development. And I said, well, what is that? Like, do I press a button somewhere? Do I go to a vending machine and order personal development soup? I didn't know what it was. But the more I got into it, the more I started going on YouTube and hearing about personal development, self-awareness, the more I realized I had always been, to a certain level, a self-aware person. I had always been the inquisitive individual trying to search for more, as I alluded to earlier in the story, searching for questions and things like that. And just doing a lot of that inner work for me was the major turning point into what I'm actually doing now. Right. So I had that business for 4.5 years. I closed it. Right.
Okay.
It was tiring. It
Hmm.
was demanding. Right. I'm there from really early in the morning to late at night. A lot of clients, things are going pretty well, but I didn't feel fulfilled. Right.
Okay.
And it took about 2 years for me to understand what I should be doing at this present moment. And so part of that journey from 2014 to 2018 was me working on myself, doing the personal development, but each year taking it a step further, really understanding myself, really getting into affirmations, really getting into diving into emotional parts of me or my past.
Right.
And then one day, I kid you not, light bulb moment. It was Monday, February 25th, 2019. The idea for what I'm doing now hit me like a lightning bolt. The name of Versatile Success, writing the book. By the end of the night, I had the logo, I had the EIN, I had the LLC, everything done because it came to me. And I call it like a download day. But I had been
Right.
searching within the whole time and I discovered it once I eliminated all my distractions. So that's where I'm at today.
Let's deconstruct some of this. Hi, Emmanuel Warden out there in Ghana. We see you. We appreciate you. And we're saying good day to you from across the water. We're learning the story of Justin Rambo today. And Justin did something that was very powerful. He transformed. And we're calling on your transformation out there in the audience today. Everybody watching this show today, now or in the future, we're calling on your transformation. We're normalizing the transformation. At some point in your life, we've all got to transform. We got to transform into something better. You could have been born great. Your life could have been positive the whole time, never had adversities. You still have a better version of yourself that you can transform into in order to get fulfillment in your life, in order to get the highest yield out of your life. We're calling on that transformation today. And Justin, you did that. You transformed. Sometimes we look out into the world and there's a lot of people, into personal development. There's a lot of people into speaking. There's a lot of people into writing. And we see a pattern of I'll use myself for an example. My message has been success is a choice for a long time. But I realized along my journey that saying success is a choice out of your mouth is not the same work as transforming yourself into that success. And so you realize the difference between discussing something and doing something. And that's where the transformation lies. The information is out there. The information's been out there. Few of us can put it better than Earl Nightingale put it 50 years ago. But there's a difference between the information and the transformation. It's the inner work. And so we're calling on everybody out there to do the inner work so that you have a positive impact on people without even opening your mouth. Now, talk to us about the versatile success movement. What is it?
So versatile success literally means, right, with versatility and success. A lot of people deem success as one thing, money, right? Or celebrity status. But in my opinion, success is versatile, which means everyone has their own definition. And there's more than one way to get to whatever you deem as success. Mm-hmm. Some individuals may want to be a successful mother, or a successful spouse, a successful husband. Some may want to open businesses. It depends on what your version of it is. But even within that version, there are multiple ways to do it. And so, like you just said, a lot of people they want to acquire a lot of information. But when you do the work, it's different. Right. And so there's more than one way to go about it. There's more than one way to find yourself. There's more than one way to have whatever your version of success is. And quite frankly, every individual alive right now is already a success. Do you understand that it's going to sound crazy, but your parents had to get together at a certain time for you to be born, which means your grandparents had to get together at a certain time for your parents to be born, which means your great-great-grandparents had to get together at a certain time, all the way down your lineage. The chances of you being born are very slim. So while we are on this earth, it's important for us to understand ourselves, define ourselves, not let the world define us, but define ourselves, understand our unique gifts and talents, and utilize those for the betterment of whatever you deem as success in terms of helping individuals or helping your family or the generations after you and the messages that come after you. But for me, versatile success is that it's multiple dimensions of success, whatever you deem it as, but it's very versatile as well.
Are you telling me that for people out there in the world who might feel inadequate, they might feel less than, they might not feel like they're as good as everybody else, as well as the people who feel great, that, let's not forget about the people who feel great, but they feel like they're in their parents' shadows. Yeah, let's not forget about them. The people whose life was great, their finances are great, but they feel like they're in their parents' shadows. Those people also feel a lot of the same anxieties that the rest of us feel. So I'm always trying to make it into a universal conversation where I can. You're saying that even those folks have an opportunity to reveal themselves to the world, and that in doing so, that they become successful too, that they become this great individual too. Revealing yourself is what's going to make you great.
Yep. But first, you have to reveal yourself to yourself, because what happens is we lie to ourselves a lot of times throughout our life. We lie by suppressing emotions. We lie by saying, okay, this wasn't that bad, or I'm not perpetuating this, or I'm not pointing the finger, or I didn't experience this, or it didn't affect me as much. Like I said, I thought certain things didn't affect me. So we have to reveal ourselves to ourselves first. And understand ourselves. And then we reveal our real, unique individual to the world to help other individuals. But it starts with you first, because what happens is a lot of people try to reveal themselves to the world without knowing themselves. And we see that with celebrities. We see that with musicians, right? And they get a certain level of success or fame early on. And then once things start to crumble a little bit, the whole facade comes down. So it's those that build that solid foundation, which is them, right? You're the solid foundation. That's where it can bleed over into other areas of your life. So for instance, I said in 2014, I was going to court with my ex, child support, custody. We were arguing. We didn't get along. X, Y, and Z. It was terrible. It took me years to work on myself for us to start to be really good co-parents, to where she comes to me for advice now. We get along great. Her and my wife get along great. But I had to build my foundation first. I had to understand myself first, what roles I played in it, what I can do about it, control the controllables. So it starts with you, that individual. You are the foundation. And once you build on a solid foundation, you can weather the storm.
Let's get some hearts and likes in the building for Mr. Justin Rambo. You are a sound mind, solid individual. And the way that you are discussing the tenets of growth, I think is absolutely phenomenal. We all need to get in the mirror. You got to get in the mirror first. You are waiting to be revealed to yourself first and foremost. It's you who is standing inside of your own temple telling you to discover me. Discover me. You are standing inside of yourself, begging yourself to discover me, discover me, discover me. And you take that knock on the door and you say, I'm going to go out into the world and I'm going to do this to discover me. And I'm going to go out into the world and I'm going to do that to discover me. I'm going to get into this relationship to discover me, and that book to discover me. But yourself is trying to get you to discover yourself first. And so we're talking about spiritual keys of growth and ascension today. It's not just you going out into the world, it's you going into yourself so that no matter where you go out into the world, you'll be solid and secure. And that means literally you've got to go get in the mirror. Sometimes people take conversations like these and they say, I don't know what to do with this. I don't know what to do with it. I don't see how this transfers directly into my life. Well, today we're making it plain. Go get in the mirror. Get in the mirror and look at yourself. Look deeply at yourself. Spend 2 hours in the mirror. No, not to bust pimples and remove ingrown hairs, but to really figure out, who are you looking at? What's in there? I guarantee a voice in your head will start making itself known. A voice in your head will start communicating with you. Take what you get in the mirror and apply it when you walk out the house. And I bet your life will start getting better. Am I right or am I wrong?
100% right. 100%. Listen, some things that happen when you discover yourself. I'm just going to paint this picture. A lot of times people deal with self-doubt, right? They deal with an inferiority complex. They deal with lack of confidence. A lot of times that's because they're trying all these things that are not working, but all these things they're trying, nothing of those things are of them. They're just trying it because it's shiny, because it looks good, because mom wants them to do it, dad wants them to do it, friends want them to do it. They see it on social media. But when you experience yourself, you have a more clear path to go down in life, because you're not trying everything. You know who you are. You know what you like, what you don't like. It gives you that authority to say, this is me, and I'm going to go after it and get it. And once you start doing that, guess what? Your self-confidence goes up, your self-worth goes up, your value goes up, because it's coming from you. And so when you discover yourself, really, really work on yourself, things start to shift in a more positive way for you as an individual, right? And I'm not talking about just money. I'm talking about just in general, different areas of your life.
Absolutely. Kente Tahir is in the building. He's a good, strong brother. He says, peace and love, good brothers. How you doing, Kente? Right now, what we're talking about is your higher self, who's waiting to be known by you. You ever walk down the street, you can hear a song in your head and wonder, how do I hear that song in my head? Exactly the way that it plays on the radio. Or you hear a message from your mother, your father, your grandparents, your brother. Sometimes you hear yourself talking to yourself. In life, we have to realize that that inner voice is the actual switchboard to our development and to our future. You are so much more awesome than you possibly know. I know some people know, but everybody doesn't know that internal voice is huge. It does all kinds of things. It analyzes your problems. It creates solutions for your problems. It's a sounding board. Let's go. Let's go. Justin Rambo, is the human being a computer?
Man, I always say we're organic computers. Organic computers. I don't know how to describe it, but you're right. That inner voice, that inner self, that higher self. And just like you said, I always tell people, how is it that you can speak but not have a mouth inside your head? How is it that you can see but not have eyes inside your head? So that inner voice has a lot of answers for the things that you seek. But like I always say, we are just too distracted to pay attention to it, right?
Your
Social
book,
media,
your
friends,
book,
family, right?
your
Where's it?
book.
Right
Turn
there.
down the noise.
Exactly.
Talk about it.
Yeah, so the book Turn Down the Noise came to me in that same download day I talked about with the company, and it's my journey through personal development, but more importantly, revealing that once you turn down the noise, the answers that you've always been seeking, the different answers, what I should do, who am I, those things you already have. You just have to eliminate distractions. So find your top 2 or 3 distractions. For me, it was social media, it was like TV in general, and then music was my distraction at that time. Meaning I needed to fill my brain and saturate my brain with the things I needed in my down moments when I would normally listen to music on the car rides, working out, whatever the case was, because I needed to clear my head and really soak in the information I needed to soak in. And that is how the download day happened. That's how I got all the answers, because I had eliminated everything, asked the questions to my higher self enough to where it said, here you go, you're ready. Boom. It's like when you have a radio dial, you turn it a little bit, you hear some static. Okay, what is that? I don't really understand it. Turn it a little bit more. Okay, I'm starting to hear some words. I'm not sure what the song is. I'm not sure what the message is. Hit that right station, all the information. And so that's what it is. Once you turn down the noise in your life, the answers you seek, you already have. And I've used it multiple times since.
This is so huge. I'm also a visionary, and I spend a lot of time trying to explain the visions that I have in my head. When I converse with people, when I talk, I'm trying to explain visions that I have in my head. And sometimes those images of life are just too thick for words. But we all know that I have a light in this room right here, right now. If this room was full of books, right, or whatever, junk, stuff, to the ceiling, I wouldn't be able to see a light in here. We've got to look at our mind as this room full of stuff. You got to go in that room. You got to start taking stuff out. You can go in there and you can remove stuff. You can go in your mind and delete things. This is how powerful you are. You can go into your mind. You can delete things. Full shelves of information that you now understand is useless. You can delete it. You never think about it again. You do that work. You turn your temper off. Turn the temper off. Let me stop exploding on people because my brain is full of noise. My brain room is full of stuff. That's why you're flying off the handle. Your mind is full. You go in there and you start taking stuff out of your mind. Take stuff out of your mind. Let's normalize taking some things out of our mind. Get it out of there. Your temper will become more manageable. Your temperament will become more apparent. And once you clear enough space, the light of your mind will shine through with information. The information you've been looking for. And so what you're saying right now about your book, Turn Down the Noise, I find it to be some of the greatest information I've heard in a while. Where can people find your book at?
On Amazon, so you can get it in print back or ebook, right? Amazon or Barnes and Noble's online. So you can find the books right there. And yeah, one way you delete certain things out of your mind is you literally have to write things out sometimes.
That's right.
Because it's everything that is in. If I had to plan for a party of 10,000 people, I wouldn't just keep it all in my head. Right. But your lifetime is years of experiences. And so when you break it out, hey, from age 5 to 12, from age 13 to 17, what did I experience? What happened? How did I feel? Write those things out. Then you have a bird's eye view of your snapshot of your life.
Mhm.
and it helps clear things from your mind because it's not all jumbled up anymore. So I love that piece of advice.
When people look at you and they might have known you from your childhood, their last memory of you might have been you throwing. You know what you did? You threw a chair across the room.
Right.
You know what you did? You broke the staircase. You know what you did?
Yeah, a little bit of
Um,
everything.
and they see you today. They see you today. What's those conversations like?
It's crazy. A lot of people are like, I'm surprised you're even talking. Because I was the quiet, explosive temper. When I
Hmm.
was an athlete, I wasn't the one that riled everyone up. I just did my thing. And so they're like, I'm surprised you're the one that's in front of the camera. You're the one that's talking. Because for years, even when I had my personal training studio, I was never in front of the camera talking. I was terrified of doing things like this about a year and a half ago. So they're surprised. But those that really know me, like my mom, she knows I always had it in me. So for a lot of those years, I was observing everything else because I was searching. Once I found the things I needed, it was go time. The lights came on, the stage curtains open, and it was go time.
Wow, I'm looking forward to seeing you on stages, whether virtual or physical. All around the world. I see you as the real deal, and you can go on to inspire millions of people, man. Um, I know a lot of young people whose lives has resembled yours, and they seek the turn of events that you deliberately contributed to in your life. What would you say to young people growing up out of the foster care system today, who are trying to figure out how to get into a positive future? What would you say to them?
I would say, if I had to think about it, there. So I host a podcast. There's a lot of individuals I've talked to. One individual came from the foster care system. Another individual has been sober for a certain amount of years from alcohol. Another one dealt with drug issues. So there's a common theme now, is that once you give things enough time, you'll get to the other side of it if you're intentional about it. So while you're going through whatever you're going through, if you're intentional about getting better and growing as a person, you'll get to the other side of whatever that issue is, right? And so what happens is people don't understand, while time is short, there's enough time to get over the different humps. And
Mhm.
so once you understand, okay, I may be going through this and it may last 5 years, but there's a story within that. There's some lessons I have to learn. There's some things I have to take within that to help me grow. So as I always say, things happen for a reason, but what can you get out of it? Get something from it, right? As the great, I think ET said, you're already in pain, get a reward from it,
Mhm.
right? And
Mhm.
so I would say that would be my advice.
Life is long. Life is long. The work that you can do in 1 hour, the work that you can do in 1 minute with the appropriate information is big,
Mm,
is wondrous. Take joy in the phase of life that you're in. Whatever phase of life you might be in, you're dealing with a challenge. It's taking you 5 years to deal with that challenge. Enjoy that 5 years. Learn as much as you can during those 5 years. If it takes you 10 years, if it takes you 15, enjoy them. The richer you become, enjoy them. The richer you become. Bask in the phases of life that are making you into an effective person. It's never too late to transform. Because you're 50 years old doesn't mean that you can't take a conversation like this, remove that extra baggage and clutter out of your mind space, and receive the information from your light. It's never too late for you to tap into the access of your true destiny so that you can have
mm.
fulfillment. And like Justin said, not success like mine or success like his. Success is versatile. Your success is waiting for you. Bask in the phases of life that are trying to get you into your own greatness. Justin, what is survival to you?
Survival to me would be, I would say honestly, survival would be is growth,
Mhm.
meaning we're going through this life. This is our first, as far as we know, this is our first go at it, right? And as they say, if you're not growing, you're dying, right? But survival to me is growing as an individual. We don't live in, the early, let's say 10th century, right? We don't need to live in the wilderness, and we don't need to worry about that type of survival. While there are things that we do need to worry about for our own physical survival, that growth is also part of that survival, right? To say, hey,
Absolutely.
when I'm 50, can I look back and say, am I the same person as I was when I was 40 or 30?
That's
If the
right.
answer is yes, how much have you really survived? You're just
That's right.
going throughout life. But
That's
if
right.
I can say, hey, I've elevated my game, I've gone and become a better person, then I have grown, which in essence is survival, because you need to acquire new skills to survival. To
That's
survive,
right.
you need to acquire new talents to survive,
That's right.
and that's what I would say.
We are down to the final 10 seconds. What is greatness to you?
Greatness is becoming the best version of yourself, whatever you deem success as, right?
Ladies and
That's
gentlemen,
greatness.
put your crown emojis into the chat. Justin, we've listened to your story today. I heard the way that you overcame adversity. You dealt with life head on. You didn't run away from your flaws. You dealt with them and you grew. You wrote a book. You became a powerful man in our society. We're giving you your respect today, and we're giving you your crown today while you can still receive it. Ladies and gentlemen, put your crown emojis into the chat. We are letting the world know that you, Justin Rambo, are America's next motivator.
Definitely appreciate it. Definitely appreciate you having me on, and I'm ready to keep motivating.
Absolutely. Thanks for stopping by today, all right? Ladies and gentlemen, there you have it. Each and every episode of America's Next Motivator. Got some crowns from Yolanda. Each and every episode of America's Next Motivator is going to have something here for you. All you've got to do is stop by and pick it up.